It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. Epictetus. The most dangerous person in any confrontation is not the one who shouts the loudest, nor the one who flaunts the most physical strength. It is the calmest one. This statement may sound counterintuitive, but it was precisely this truth that the legendary Miyamoto Musashi discovered, the greatest swordsman in Japanese history, undefeated in over 60 duels, always fighting to the death. What made Musashi unbeatable was not just his skill with the sword, but something far more subtle and infinitely more powerful: absolute mastery over his own emotions. Musashi developed a system of self-control so refined that his opponents simply couldn't cope with it. And in this video, you will learn the 4 principles Musashi used to maintain serenity, even in the face of death. Principles that, if applied, can completely transform the way you handle modern conflicts, whether in a workplace argument or during a deep emotional crisis. Because, in the end, whoever stays calm dominates the game. When someone yells at you or aggressively challenges you, what happens inside your body? Your muscles tighten, your heart races, anger rises like a sudden wave, and before you even realize it, you've been swallowed by an emotional storm. This is the trap Musashi knew better than anyone. He knew that, by allowing yourself to be consumed by the emotions of the moment, you lose control of the situation, and, more importantly, you lose control of yourself. Musashi's first principle for winning any confrontation has nothing to do with strength or technical skill. It's something much deeper. Emotional distance. Emotional distance is the ability to separate yourself from what you're feeling. It's the skill of observing your own internal reactions without getting dragged by them. It's a life philosophy based on not attaching to fleeting emotions, on seeing the world with clarity and acting with intention. It's the same teaching found in Buddhism, in the idea of non-identification with the ego, and in Taoism, with the concept of Wu Wei, action without effort, flowing with the natural rhythm of life. Today, we are surrounded by confrontations, social media, traffic, politics, relationships. Everything seems to provoke an immediate reaction. But the truly powerful person in modern times is not the one who shouts the loudest, nor the one who hits the hardest. It's the one who remains serene, while everyone else loses control. It's the one who wisely chooses where it's worth spending energy, and where silence is the noblest answer. When you start mastering these principles, you discover something curious. Many conflicts simply disappear because they only existed inside you, and by transforming yourself, you change the nature of the world around you. Just like Musashi, you stop being just someone who faces battles and becomes someone who transcends them. This is the path, not of brute force, but of inner strength. Having a clear purpose doesn't mean being cold or insensitive. It means your emotions start working in favor of something greater and not against you. This focus transforms any confrontation into an opportunity to build rather than just destroy. Musashi knew this deeply. He wasn't calm because he was indifferent. He was calm because he had clarity, and this clarity came from purpose. When you know why you're fighting, you choose when to fight, and even more importantly, you choose when not to fight. True power is not in winning confrontations, it is in transcending them. Musashi discovered this centuries ago. Mastery in the art of combat was not about defeating the other, but about mastering oneself. His 4 principles: emotional distance, anticipatory awareness, strategic breathing, and purposeful action, are not just war tactics. They are a path to a more conscious, centered, and free life. Deep down, what he taught us goes far beyond the sword, beyond conflict or victory. His opponents often entered the duel driven by anger, pride, or fear of losing. But Musashi had focus. He knew exactly what he wanted with each movement, with each decision. In his writings, he made it clear the warrior must not intend to attack first, but rather remain centered on his greater goal. This clarity of purpose prevented him from being swept away by the emotional storm. In modern conflicts, this is even more necessary. How many arguments have you experienced that started with a real reason, but in minutes turned into accusations, resentments, and old grudges? This happens when the purpose is lost. The solution is simple but profound. Before entering any conflict, be it a difficult conversation, a tense meeting, or even a delicate message, pause for a moment and ask yourself, what is my true goal here? Answer with a single sentence, something direct, clear, that serves as your emotional anchor. It could be, I want to resolve this misunderstanding without causing more pain. I want to defend my point without disrespecting anyone. I want to protect my peace during this confrontation. And when emotions start to rise, mentally repeat this purpose. This will keep you centered, will prevent you from reacting impulsively, and will make your words and actions serve your purpose, not your wounded ego. This simple cycle, synchronized body and mind, creating a moment of calm within the storm. You can apply this technique today, before a tense meeting, an emotional argument, or even before delivering difficult news. Just one strategic breath, inhale, count to 4, hold, and exhale, counting to 6. Even a single cycle is enough to reduce tension and clear your thoughts. Repeat 2 or 3 times, and you'll feel the effect spreading throughout your body. Breathing like this is like pressing an internal reset button, a reminder that no matter how chaotic the world is, you have the power to create peace within yourself. For Musashi, this calm was the foundation of victory. For us, it's the foundation of a more lucid, centered, and powerful life. Now, imagine yourself in the middle of an intense confrontation, exploding emotions, sharp words, tension in the air. Most people react on autopilot, want to win the argument, prove a point or hurt back. Musashi did it differently. He didn't fight to feed the ego. He fought with a clear purpose. And this is what makes the fourth principle so transformative. Purposeful action. Musashi believed that acting without a defined objective was like fighting blindfolded. He observed that at the exact moment his opponents felt fear or anger, the first thing that changed was their breathing pattern. It became fast, shallow, erratic, and this respiratory disorder was the harbinger of a mental collapse. Therefore, Musashi's third principle is the so-called strategic breathing. During fights, Musashi controlled not only his movements, but each inhalation and exhalation. He knew that whoever controls breathing controls their emotional state. This wasn't a technical detail. It was a weapon. During training, he executed strikes while keeping his breathing deep and rhythmic. Because when the body breathes calmly, the mind stays clear, even amid chaos. And modern science proves this. Slow and controlled breathing activates the parasympathetic nervous system, the same one responsible for calming the body and restoring balance. Rapid breathing triggers fight or flight mode, flooding the brain with stress hormones, clouding reasoning. Musashi developed a simple yet powerful technique. Before any decisive moment, he took a single conscious breath, inhaling deeply through the nose, counting to 4, holding it for a few seconds, and exhaling through the mouth, counting to 6, before entering any difficult conversation. Pause for 30 seconds and ask yourself 3 questions. What is this person's likely emotional state? What do they really want from this interaction? What are the 3 most likely reactions they might have? Answering these questions prepares your brain for what's coming, and this drastically reduces the impact of emotional surprise, which is usually what throws us off balance. When you anticipate, the body doesn't go into panic mode. On the contrary, it prepares with focus and clarity. This is a practice used even by FBI hostage negotiators. Before each critical conversation, they analyze the person's emotional profile, review past behaviors, and map out possible dialogue paths. With this, they stay calm, even in the most explosive situations. Anticipating doesn't mean controlling the other. It means knowing the terrain before stepping onto it. And the more you understand people's emotional patterns, the less you'll be surprised, and the easier it will be to stay serene. And in a chaotic world, this calm is one of the greatest forms of power. But Musashi also knew there was an invisible link connecting body and mind. Breathing. When you create this emotional distance, the internal storm begins to calm, and it's here that you gain true power over the situation. But Musashi didn't stop there. He knew that most people enter a confrontation without emotional preparation, reacting impulsively, just trying to survive the heat of the moment. Musashi did exactly the opposite. For him, calm began long before the first move. This is the second principle, anticipatory awareness. Musashi called this pre-knowledge, the ability to sense the opponent's moves before they even happened. It's not about guessing or mind reading. It's about recognizing patterns. Because, no matter how complex we are, humans, under pressure, react predictably. Anger follows repeated paths. Fear narrows options. Impatience reveals vulnerabilities. Before each duel, Musashi studied his opponents. He observed how they moved, how they reacted under stress, which strikes they preferred. Nothing was left to chance. In his most famous duel against Sasaki Kojiro, Musashi already knew Kojiro was vain, impulsive, and used an extremely long sword. So, he arrived late on purpose, further irritating his opponent, and, on the way, he carved his own wooden sword, deliberately. A bit longer than Kojiro's, Musashi won the fight before it even began, because he already knew what to expect. How to apply this to your life? Simple. Musashi described it as watching the confrontation from above, as if you were a cloud, observing the sky. He didn't become the anger, nor the fear. He simply observed the emotions arising and let them pass. And it's exactly this simple act of not identifying with the emotion that changes everything. It may seem simple, but the truth is, most of us fall into this trap daily when someone insults you. You say, "I am angry," or worse, "I am the anger," and thus, you let yourself be consumed by it, letting feelings guide words, actions, and decisions. Musashi did the opposite. He acknowledged the anger, but didn't let it take command. He would simply state, "I am feeling anger now." This small yet powerful difference creates a space between you and the emotion, and within that space, your freedom of choice is born. How to start applying this today, during any conflict, even in a trivial conversation. When you notice strong emotions arising, pause for a brief moment and tell yourself, "I notice that I am feeling anger," or "I am feeling frustration." This simple act of labeling the emotion creates an internal space, and over time, this space expands, giving you a level of control that once seemed impossible. The secret is not to deny or repress what you feel. It's not being controlled by it.